What happens when the weight of tradition, this thing they call ruwayat, clashes so violently with individual truth?
And that clash begins really devastatingly inside the Jolly Khan mansion. We have to start there. At the moment, the marriage between Karan and Sema just completely shatters. The fuse was lit, of course, when the vile conspiracy came out. Sema, his wife, was part of this huge, elaborate lie about a fake pregnancy, all to sort of secure her place in the family. And the second Karan finds out, his reaction isn't just anger, it's something deeper.
Oh, it's absolutely, he completely rejects the idea that this was just some mistake. For him, it's a crime. He says it himself, "Tumne meri izzat ke saath khilwad kiya hai."
Which means?
You have played with my honor. For Karan, that's it. The trust is gone, completely broken. And the only answer, no matter what the family says, is divorce.
But the forces of tradition, they mobilize immediately. 𝐀𝐁𝐎𝐿 Jolly Khan, the mother, she swoops in, and she's not there to defend what Sema did. She's there to defend the family name. Her whole argument comes from the perspective of ruwayat.
And this is so critical. When she says divorce does not exist in their traditions, she's not talking about the law. She's talking about a social contract, really.
Yeah.
Ruwayat is what guarantees their status, their legacy.
So a divorce would be like a public admission of failure.
Exactly. A public scandal like this, it would show the world the Khan family can't control its own house. So for her, keeping up appearances, even if it means forgiving this awful mistake, is the #1 priority.
It's that classic paradox, isn't it? Sacrificing any kind of internal peace for external prestige. But Karan, he doesn't back down.
No, and in the middle of all this, you get this really heartbreaking perspective from Amir. He's the amanat of Karan's deceased brother.
And amanat means what, exactly? A trust.
It's a trust, or a sacred duty. He was entrusted to them. So he's family, but he's also permanently seen as a bit of an outsider. And because of that, his warnings have this different kind of weight.
And he's questioning Karan's quick judgment.
Yes, but he also connects it back to Karan's own actions. He sort of suggests that Karan favoring Ceylan over Sema might have been what started this whole fire. He's basically saying, look, your choices are the things fracturing this family.
And what's the outcome of this first clash?
Well, it's a contradiction. Karan insists the marriage is over, the papers will be signed. But Sema has to stay in the mansion as the brother's amanat.
So she's divorced in spirit, but trapped there physically for the sake of appearances.
They've created a living ghost of a marriage. And while that's all collapsing, this huge external crisis hits them. The legal trouble with former Commissioner Ferret.
Right. Ferret is now the main suspect in the attack that left a man named Mehmet in a coma. Ferret's side of the story is he went there thinking Mehmet was setting a trap for Layla, his love interest.
But he found Mehmet already injured. The problem is, he was the last person to see him conscious. And he's so vulnerable now. He even says he regrets leaving the police force for Layla.
That's a huge admission. The personal sacrifice he's already made might not be enough to save him.
And making it all worse is Commissioner Emre, Ferret's old rival, is leading the investigation. Ferret says Emre has been waiting his whole life for this.
A classic professional rivalry.
It is. But what's so interesting is that Ferret, even in this terrible position, admits that Emre is an honest commissioner. The issue isn't corruption, it's just this deep-seated rivalry meeting a very inconvenient set of facts.
And meanwhile, Ferret's friends, Mustafa and Gonca, are in a complete panic. They're clearly hiding something.
Oh, definitely. At one point, Mustafa, he tries to do the noble thing and surrender to protect Ferret.
But Gonca stops him.
She does. She's fierce. She tells him they're in this together. If Mehmet dies, they'll both go to jail. For her, their partnership is unbreakable, even if it leads them both to ruin.
And then the noose tightens. They find it, the key piece of evidence.
A recording.
A recording that clearly shows Ferret hitting Mehmet, and that's enough for an arrest. But this is where the personal drama just crashes into the legal crisis.
It's an incredible moment. As they're taking him away, Ferret turns to Layla, and he proposes. Right then and there.
Yeah.
He says, "Main tumse shadi karan the chatihun."
I want to marry you.
And she just accepts. Instantly. No hesitation.
Wow. It's like this ultimate statement of trust and commitment right as he's about to be, possibly ruined.
It's a promise for the future, right when their future has never been more uncertain. And that moment, that promise, happens just as the Jolly Khan family finally reaches its own breaking point.
Yes, which brings us to this bizarre mix of tragedy and heroism. The whole fake pregnancy lie, it had to end, and we find out Ceylan, the other wife, she confessed to Karan.
And her reason was shame. But interestingly, not just shame about the lie itself. It was shame because 𝐀𝐁𝐻, the mother, had been so kind to her while she was supposedly pregnant.
So Ceylan still has some kind of moral compass. 𝐀𝐻𝐻's kindness made the lie unbearable.
It seems so. And Seema, seeing that the divorce is stalled and I think just desperate to end this whole game, she uses Ceylan's confession as an opportunity. She deploys her final weapon.
She announces a miscarriage, a fake miscarriage.
A purely strategic move to force the final break.
Yeah.
But the result was completely unintended and tragic. The shock of losing the grandson, it causes 𝐀𝐻𝐻 to have a heart attack.
And the house just descends into chaos.
Total panic. But here's the most amazing twist. Ceylan, the woman 𝐀𝐻𝐻, sees as the villain, the one who caused all this pain. She's the one who becomes the hero.
While everyone else is hysterical, she just takes charge.
She does. She remembers what to do from an experience with her own father. She lays 𝐻𝐻𝐻 down, elevates her feet, opens the windows, all the critical first aid steps for a cardiac event. It's this moment of absolute clarity and action in the middle of all the deceit.
And Karan sees this. He sees her save his mother's life.
And he's just overwhelmed. He thanks her. He's so relieved, and he acknowledges her with pride, even though her very presence is what's destroying his wife, Seema.
But even saving the matriarch's life isn't enough to let her stay, is it?
No, the pressure of her way, it's just too strong.
Which takes us right into the aftermath. 𝐻𝐻𝐻 recovers, but she's hardened. In her mind, Ceylan is still the killer, the one who stole her son and caused her heart attack.
It's where you see how tradition can become completely irrational. The crime against the family legacy, in 𝐻𝐻𝐻's eyes, is worse than the act of saving her life. It's unbelievable.
So what's her final decree?
She grabs the signed divorce papers between Karan and Seema and tears them up. She declares the divorce will not happen as long as she's alive. But Ceylan, the other wife, has to leave the mansion immediately.
So she saves the broken marriage, but banishes the person who saved her.
It's a tragic trade-off, and the doctor makes it worse. He tells Karan his mother will be fine, but she needs lifelong medication, and critically, she has to be kept away from all stress.
Which is impossible in that house.
Completely impossible. Meanwhile, on the legal front, things are getting worse for Ferret. Gulshan visits him, confirms the video makes him the prime suspect, but Ferret is just focused on Layla, saying her world will not be ruined by this.
But then another twist.
A huge one. Mustafa tries to surrender again, but Gonka stops him with this massive piece of news. Mehmet is awake.
He's awake from the coma.
Yes. This changes everything. Before it was just a recording. Now there's a witness, the main witness. The pressure on Gonka and Mustafa is suddenly at a critical level.
And back at the mansion, Ceylan makes her choice.
She does. A final act of self-exile. She writes a goodbye letter. She takes responsibility for the pain her part in the lie caused, but she still maintains her innocence in the murder of Karan's brother.
She knows that if she stays, 𝐻𝐻𝐻 will never be without stress, and Khan will be trapped forever.
Exactly. So she leaves. A huge sacrifice that, ironically, is the only thing that brings a moment of peace to that family.
So when we look at everything, the family, the legal fight, the medical emergency, the very traditions that were meant to protect honor, the riwayat.
They became the engine for all the chaos. It all came from trying to protect appearances instead of just facing the truth.
So the final tally, Ferret is in jail, but he's engaged. Seema is still in the mansion, but totally rejected. Ceylan has exiled herself, and 𝐻𝐻𝐻 is recovering, but living under this immense stressful facade.
And you see that the only path to any kind of resolution, however temporary, required these huge personal sacrifices. Ceylan's exile, Ferret's career and freedom, Mustafa's willingness to go to jail.
Which brings us to our final thought for you, the listener. When tradition becomes this binding contract that forces impossible choices, can you ever really achieve justice for yourself? Or does holding on to your own integrity mean you have to completely break away from the very structures that are supposed to define your world? Something to think about until our next deep dive.